I was sitting here just begging for my breath to be taken away while I was watching the Met Gala, and it was like, may the ghost of Joan Rivers possess us all. This has become a parody of itself. This is What the Fuck America. It's politics for cool people and culture for smart people. I'm Grace Weinstein, and let me give you a little rundown of the show that we've got today. We are, of course, going to talk about this year's 2024 Met Gala. We're going to take you through a little bit of the history, a little bit of the controversies. I'm going to get into some real cultural criticism, a little Q&A, and a light, maybe not light, roast of all of the outfits at the end. Let's get started. So the 2024 theme was Sleeping Beauties, Reawakening Fashion. It was chaired by Zendaya, Jennifer Lopez, Chris Hemsworth, and Bad Bunny. Really kind of odd foursome you got there, who were all dressed like they were going to different events. Benito, you have our hearts, though. So getting into a little bit of history, this is for the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute. They're basically the archivists of the fashion world. The Met Gala has been mired in controversy many times. Someone reminded us that this week was the 10-year anniversary of the Solange, Beyonce, Jay-Z elevator affair, if you could call it that. Double entendre there a little bit. 2015, we had a bit of a Chinese cultural appropriation problem when the theme was China-focused throughout history. But that was also the year that Rihanna came out in an outfit we'll talk about later, because I actually need to address that specifically. 2021, you may remember AOC wore the Tax the Rich dress, which people either freaking loved or absolutely fucking hated, which seems to be the case for anything that woman does. As far as any controversy this year, Condé Nast is the parent company who owns Vogue, who's obviously putting on this event. They have been bargaining for a fair contract with their union for a long time, and they said, we will walk off the job, picket, strike, and make your little event a little nightmare. Anna Wintour was probably like, no way in hell that's happening on my day of all days. Shut it down. The Condé Nast union got a fair contract tentatively agreed to. But there were still other protests outside of the Met Gala gates. The NYPD was doing a real bad job of holding them back from being plowed through by pro-Palestine protesters. One of my biggest kind of shocks of the whole evening was that there was not a mention of what is going on in Gaza right now. There were plenty of people there who I, had on my list to potentially say something. And I'm very curious if there was some kind of guidance sent forth by the Bob, which is what they call Anna Wintour, saying, if you bring up politics on my carpet, you'll never see me again. So let's get to this year's theme and this year's highs, this year's lows, this year's mess of all kind of messes. It really gives us a good sense of people's reading comprehension skills. If you didn't do the homework, you would not have realized that the short story this theme was based on is all about the desperation we feel hanging on to beauty as it fades through time. That is very different than a literal interpretation of Sleeping Beauty or Reawakening, both of which we kind of saw on the carpet. And this is really how we ended up with so many florals for spring, which, yeah, as we know, say it with me,
groundbreaking.
When you end up pursuing personal interpretation, the keyboard warriors on Twitter have something to say about it because it is not how they view the theme that has been given. I feel like you need to let people show you their vision. Now that you have the context, here's my take. Not all visions are worth sharing. A lot of this feels really cheap. We live in an attention economy. I'm like, we live in a society. We live in an attention economy where attention is the currency. If you can be talked about more than 48 hours after this event is over, you have won in the eyes of your stylist, you have won in the eyes of your manager, you have won in the eyes of Vogue and the people who throw events like this. It's the Rihanna effect from 2015. Here's where I wanted to bring this up because I did want to subtle flex for 1 second. I interned in Paris for the designer that made this dress, Guopei, and I saw all of the sketches and the design work that went into it, and I just simply was passing away in real time in Paris looking at this because y'all know Rihanna is my woman. So a lot of things just feel like cheap copies of that. It's hard to execute on that level year after year, person after person, influencer after influencer. So one of the best qualities to me that a person can possess is perspective when it comes to their personal style. I want to know how you view the world through what you're wearing. And we can pick up those cues based on what people are wearing, but not right now when everything has become this kind of trickle down fashionomics, I'm calling it, where it goes from Anna Wintour to these brands, to the stylists, to the celebrities, to us, through Temu and Shein, and nothing offers a sense of identity through what you're wearing. Neutrality has worked for celebrities like in this way for a long time. It's one of the reasons that not a single person on the red carpet last night mentioned a single political thing. Like I said, neutrality sells because then they're not alienating anyone in their potential consumer base. The issue with that is whether they like it or not, fashion, like everything else, is political. For example, John Galliano, one of the most worn designers at the event last night, was formerly persona non grata in the fashion industry after going on a drug and alcohol-fueled anti-Semitic rant in 2011. What do you know? Here he is, rehabilitated in more ways than one. We're happy for his sobriety. But it proves one of my favorite things that, cancel culture isn't really real, A. And B, it shows how low the standards are in the fashion industry. Because we can't get a hold of ourselves as consumers, why should they try to get a hold of themselves as businesses? So eventually, like I said, this event becomes a parody of itself. It feels completely dissociated from its core identity. And I don't know how you get that back when you have hosts out here being like, oh my God, I'm literally so gagged. Never seen anything that made me gag more, the gaggery. And it's Sarah Jessica Parker wearing a Kentucky Derby ass hat. Or there was a tweet from Entertainment Tonight, will never be the same after this Camila Cabello look. And it's like, this is a gold dress that she stole from J-Lo's closet. Nothing revolutionary happening here, people. So I always wonder, if everybody is vying to be iconic, can anybody really be? Does that word offer up any sort of meaning to us as a culture anymore? So the question becomes, I always say that in these episodes, do we change it? Do we throw out the formula and create a new one for Met Galas moving forward? I would like to see it. Now to move on to some of your questions. So Rose asks, why is it held on the first Monday of May? It was originally held in November, the first year, I want to say 1948, and it was a midnight feast. Tickets cost $50. Sounds like a delightful affair to me. But the social calendar in those days, and this event was mostly for socialites, was jam-packed in the fall. It was the busiest time. So when they moved it to the spring, it was a much lighter time in the social calendar, and it gave them a lot more flexibility in terms of fashion that they could wear to the event. It could lean more summer. It could lean more floral. Groundbreaking. Mazender says, when were the years that broke records in attention and donations? So I do really want to double down on the attention factor coming out of the Rihanna Guope era. That is why she has always been heralded as the queen of the Met Gala. And she has never missed since then, other than when she's not there, of course. But that was 2015. So it really came to be this kind of cultural staple. I would say then it's been a note on my calendar every year since then. And the years that broke donation records. This was so crazy. I was reading this last night. 2013, the gala itself made $9 million over the course of the evening. It's a whole lot of money. Last year, 2023, the Met Gala brought in $22 million in one night. That is spectacular, especially because it is a publicly available and accessible offering that we get to enjoy in New York. I go to the costume exhibit every single year. I love seeing when they're brought out in other exhibits. It is truly a treat that we get to see items like this from fashion's history for a nerd like me. So I love hearing that they're breaking donation records. My last question, Joe, what's your favorite bit of trivia about the Met Gala? I've been waiting for this one. There's only one person banned from the Met Gala forever. I wouldn't be surprised if they lifted that ban, but as of right now, there's only one person banned from the Met Gala forever. He so happens to be a person who proposed to his current wife at the Met Gala also. And that person would be, any guesses? Donald Trump. Her face is in the back. Yeah, love that. Proposed to Melania on the carpet at the Met Gala, and I want to say 2004. I would have said no. Those are fantastic questions. You can obviously hit me with more questions down below, and I'll be sure to answer. Now, for the part that you've all waited here for. I love democratizing fashion criticism this way. I just wish more people had better opinions. Just the same way that I wish more people wore better clothes. Bad Bunny and Lana Del Rey with these Mr. Tumnus ass fucking shoes. They are wearing horse feet on the red carpet. Kind of love it. Kind of goes with the whole theme of the night, but would I buy it? No. Zendaya to me in the first outfit. Second outfit, masterpiece, love. Zendaya to me looked like those purple and blue painted grapes that you would see collecting dust at an Olive Garden in like 2005 in the middle of America. That's what that was vibing for me. J-Lo said, theme, I literally don't know her. The theme for me for every event is silver, sparkling, sheer. That is that. Color, never heard of it. I don't think she's worn a color since that iconic Versace green gown in what? That was 20 years ago. Ben Simmons, a basketball player who hates basketball, who is afraid of the court, afraid of the ball, afraid of the sound of the shoes. He's carrying a time briefcase, and it's like, yeah, buddy, because you're about to have a lot of time on your hands when the Brooklyn Nets caught you this summer. Good luck. Cola Scola, looking like Maria fleeing the convent in Sound of Music. Nobody solves a problem like Maria. Don't know who this was. I screamed looking at this. Gustav Magnar-Witzow. This is if Julius Caesar was a guest judge on Drag Race. It is kind of serving everything except the little slipper is really disturbing to me. Josh O'Connor, Challengers fame. This is the rat from Flushed Away, and I mean that in a complimentary way. The Chloe girls. This is the last thing you see before the ketamine hits at Burning Man, and it is then seared into your memory forever. Where do I begin with Rita Ora? Rita Ora, she's wearing beads from the 1st century. I'm sure they loved being dug up and then hung around her nether regions while her partner looked like the Augustus Gloop post swimming in the chocolate fountain at Willy Wonka and his chocolate factory. Hated it. Gagging in the bad way. Serena Williams, someone isn't just preying on her downfall, they are acting on it, because why would you put this beautiful woman in an outfit that makes me want to bake a potato? Lizzo is a Tootsie Roll here. And that's really all that there is to say about that. Alexandra Daddario, which I'm like, who? That's Jared Leto. Those are my takes for now. Let me know what you think in the comments. Who was your best dressed? Who did you think absolutely nailed it? Who do you think crashed and burned? What do you think I should wear to the Met Gala if I'm ever invited? Make sure you're subscribed to What the Fuck America, and we'll see you next time.